Hi there, and welcome to the fourth part of getting started with data objects. In the first three parts, of which you can find a link down below in the description, we have built an application that contains a patient data object, a case model that we use to manage our patient data, and we've linked it with another data object, the consultations, showing how we can use service model operations to build data tables. In this part, we're going to build something which is quite common for data objects, which is the master detail page. So let's create a new model, select the page here, and let's create this one. Let's call this one the overview page. Now, this kind of view always consists of two tables. One on the left-hand side, I'm going to call patients. The one on the right-hand side, I'm going to call consultations. Here we go. So let's hook it up with our data object model. And we only have one find operation here. And we're going to show the first name data table. Now, when we fetch the patient data through this operation, we will already have gotten our consultations. And the reason for that, if we go and have a look at our patient data, you can see that the default is to fetch the consultation data eagerly. So whenever we fetch data from the patients, we will get our consultation data in one go. So what we can do here is we can say, use the consultation data object. But now we're not going to use an operation and fire a new query. We're actually going to bind it to an expression, a front-end expression. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say selected dot consultations. This is important now we use the same name here, because if I now select the first table and say this is selectable, single, I'm going to bind it to the same variable, same front-end variable. Whenever I click an entry here, I'm going to repopulate the consultations table here. And I need to select columns, of course, the summary and the timestamp. First, here we go. Okay, that should already work. Now, one little thing that I'd like to do is I don't want to show the table here if I didn't select a patient yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this an expression and simply say in a front-end expression, I need to have selected patient to have some value. All right, publish this. Go. Work. There is now an overview page here. And you can see that the patients in my system, they're here now. And when I select them, there will be one operation being done. It will fetch the patient and the consultation data, and the second table will show the consultation data on the right-hand side. All right, let's make this a bit more interesting. Let's go to Flowable Design, and let's say we want to now filter on last name. This one, the filter text field. We can't do this yet because we don't have an operation yet to filter on patient name. It's quite easy. Let's go to our service model, add an operation. This one, find by last name. Oh, that's a search operation. Add a filter here. Say this is last name input filter string. When I use it, I actually want to filter in my database on the last name using the operator like, ignoring any casing. Save this, go back to our page, patients here, and now let's swap, instead of the find all, let's go to the find by last name and use a front-end expression filter here to bind it to whatever we fill into the filter text. Okay, save it, publish it. This page, okay. Now it shows all my patients, but if I type something like Parker now, right, you can see that it filters on Parker. So it will show my one entry with the last name matches, or at least like matches the doe. And it shows my consultations. Okay, this was a quite simple query. Let's make things a bit more interesting. So let's now say we want to search patients who have a certain disease. And let's assume that we've put this disease into the description, right? To do that, we need a new operation. So go to our service model. Let's go find by description. So that's the, the field that we use in the past to put in the advice. So when we do this, we now need to filter on the description. Oh, that's a string, and I can now say filter in all of, or look into all the consultations where the description matches Again, with a like ignoring case, just to make things easy, this particular thing that I've input. Save it. And let's now swap this one to find description. Bind it again to the filter. Save it, publish it. Refresh. Okay. I know now from my test data that not all of them stomach ache. If I fill in stomach, you see that Bruce Wayne has disappeared, but if I fill in fever, which they all have had at some point, they will be added here. Now, all the consultations are shown here, and that's not really something that I want, right? I also want to see only if I fill in fever, I only want to see those consultations which mention fever. Let's make that happen. Let's now go to our service model consultations, add a new operation. Also call this one find by description. And we're going to filter again on description, similar like we did for the patients, but now we're filtering on it from the consultation point of view. But we also need a second parameter, because if we would fire this query, we would get all of the consultations, irregardless which patient that actually had that particular disease. So let's add a second parameter. Let's call this one the patient ID, because we only want to get those where the patient ID actually matches one that we've put on the screen. Maybe let's do the timestamp here. Operation, save it, and go back to our page. Now, until now, we have bound this to an expression saying that we're just going to use the data that came with the operation of the patient in this table here. But now we actually want to fire a new operation whenever we select something. Let's go to the operation configuration and now select that we want to do an operation here. We want to do define by description. Now, description is easy. We're going to bind it to the same filter value of the text field. The patient ID is actually the one that we've selected on the left-hand side. We want to pass the ID. This will then do a SQL query behind the scenes to match those who have the filter here and for the selected patient on the left-hand side. All right, let's save this, publish it. What happens? So if I now fill in stomach, you can see that again it filters the patients. And if I select now here, you can see that it filtered also the consultations and has removed those in which I did not put any disease or any description that mentions stomach. Same story when I put in fever. You can see that now the list of consultations is actually way smaller than before. Okay, that was it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. We've built quite an interesting app already. We've built a data object, we've built a CMM case model, we've linked data together, and now we've built a master detailed view that really shows the power of data objects in Flowable. Thank you for watching, and until next time.